Huh, it's recording. I didn't see any light, no beep. Anyway, yeah, so it's me. Yeah, okay, that's the video. It's the me video. Um, yeah, general, I think, subject. Don't have anything specific. Because theme-wise, we have Antikontavad again, attempting to argue rationalizations in defense of irrationality. So, in defense of rationalizations, essentially, right? Let's pervert. Let's change the rules when the rules of sensibility and rationality are unpleasant. When following the logical rules is inconvenient. When the truth is inconvenient. Kill the truth. Even to the point where, the game is played so deep again that he's going to argue that it's all this nature, nurture, intelligence thing, right? And ultimately, if you're an informed individual, if you're educated, the standard is the highest. We could say you're not allowed anymore to do something dumb, that you know better. There you go. You know better. So knowing better means you have to do better. Your obligation is higher. So yes, if you're going to claim you're ignorant, which I guess to some extent he wishes to claim a perpetual and intractable ignorance, that because we don't know exactly what initiated the universe, therefore I can molest children. He wants to use the excuse of, a few kind of insignificant details are missing from our understanding of the nature of our origin. And they are insignificant. We know the significant detail is evolution. We know how that works. Replication and, consumption of zillions of trial and errors, to just make machines that are survivable. Nothing brilliant, nothing to get to smile about and say, oh gee, isn't that a great process? Isn't that just so efficient? Yeah. Designed through attrition, designed through, I don't even know how to make a word for that. This grinding up of billions of failures to have your success. Do we have a word for that kind of inefficiency? Preposterously high collateral damage. Is there a word for that? Do we have a piece of verbiage that I could just throw out and say, there, it's that? Besides gross, disgusting. Anyway, so that's the part of the argument, I suppose. And then this other part is these nihilist types who, well, I mean, Anacondavide's in the same category, I suppose. It's this effort to negate the meaning of the failures, the meaning of the brutalities that have been endured, to create the ground I'm walking on. We stand on the shoulders of, a ton of monsters and victims. Just the truth. It's not a good truth. Yeah, it's not to celebrate, to use as an excuse to keep waving the home team flag. And again, that always invades every part of Anticontabod's rhetoric. There was a comment on one of my videos, some asshole, citing some, German philosophers, saying they're doing logic, and they never said anything like life sucks or something like that. And so what? I should say first, and then second, I should say, then he uses one of the quotes, and he calls it defeatism again. And I've argued about this, but that's part of Anticontabod psychology too. Is this idea that, it's the Einstein thing, right? Keep doing the same thing and think you're going to have a different result. We've seen the history of what humanity has done on this planet, and it hasn't been pretty. And there's little or no evidence that it's going to get prettier. It just isn't. It isn't there. And but he's going to wave the flag because it's defeatist to admit you can't, round. You can't square the round peg hole thing. It can't be done. You're not going to conform the design of our nature into a pattern of functionality. It just not in the real world anyway. You can only do that in some delusionary space, some virtual fake reality where you take the victimizing, you make that unreal, but you can't do it in as a practical, sensible ambition. It's kind of just preposterous to say, I'm going to take this fundamentally consuming device and somehow turn it into a producing a device. Take this thing that's born in need and somehow make it useful for it to, create, generate senseless ambition, purposeless, pointless, waste ambition. It's just not in the nature of the structure, because the universe doesn't provide opportunity for a pure positive. And if you were to start with a void in space, there would be no way for you to create something beautiful or attractive or meaningful or useful or joyful or any of those things without first creating the quicksand. You can't, just the way the machine works. The machine doesn't make positives. It converts negatives into positives. It converts a negative back to its neutral and gives you the appearance of accomplishment. Because yes, you've obviously progressed the game in a positive direction, but only because the negative direction was there for you to consume. So like a Pac-Man or something else, you have to have the mechanism of need before you can have the utility of its gratification, the positive of satisfaction. And this is a fundamental, primary, explicit, it's right in front of us. It's so fucking obvious. This is it's in the nature, it's in the structure of the thing. And it's a concession that's got to be made that this is a fact of function. That things don't. You can't create the attraction out of nothing. You have to create it out of this idea of separating something from another thing and fulfilling and having the desire the mechanism of need for completion. Need to, well, that's a good word for it. I mean, to use the movie metaphor, you complete me. That is a very good analogy, it's a very good phrase for much of what we seek is some kind of completion, some kind of reconnection with what is missing, what we lack. There's space in the tank that needs to be filled. There's, I've used analogies like that life is just, the nature of existence is to dig a hole and to spend most of your existence trying to fill it. And few succeed. I did, this is sort of an irony, as I did look up one of this, the guy who posted the snarky comment with his little list of German losers. And so anyway, one of the philosophers he listed just seems to me kind of, he left Germany in 30 whatever, before the war. Won't go into it. But just a typical, generic Kantian style bullshit. He has two wives, so not exactly an exemplary life. Maybe much like Einstein. And but then the second wife commits suicide. Anyway, not that it should mean that much, but sometimes these issues of if you're going to be an ethical philosopher, these kind of things can have the appearance there might be some flaw in your life strategy that you can't seem to manage your own dilemma ethically. Anyway, that's irrelevant, really. Just, it seemed somehow useful as a comment. Why is that water so cruddy? Town must be screwing with something somewhere. Oh, it hasn't been any big rain or anything. I mean, not in the last 2 days. So it shouldn't be that gray. It's clear here. Maybe that house is dumping some shit. Might be street water. They don't clean streets here, though. Well, anyway, I have to figure that one out. Being whatever you call the ad hoc, volunteer nature observer for this area. Anyway, so I'm kind of off the beaten track, but I sort of made the points I think that need to be made. Again, the Haklade and the Kantavad don't go anywhere near the subject of biological evolution. They don't go anywhere near analyzing the nature, the function of nature, the function of the nature of the replicating process, the fact that there is no ethics built in, there's no efficiency, and there's no fundamental rational function. These are components that not only don't exist default by presumption of a creator, right? A creator solves the problem because you just say, well, God knows what the hell he's doing. So that the religious avoid the question by just saying, God only knows, to make sense of it all. But the atheist has to do better than that. And the only sensible conclusion is that the fundamental mechanism is waste, tons and tons and tons of wasted product to create a dishwasher that doesn't wash anything but the dishes it made dirty. It doesn't accomplish anything but half fix the problems it creates. It's just by definition, it's non-functional. You can't make a problem, solve half of it, and call yourself successful. See, I mean, that water is quite disgusting for some reason. It's quite disgusting for some reason. Do I feel curious enough, energetic enough to go upstream exploring to find the reason? Now, there is a pipe that comes off this street that poops out around here somewhere. I mean, that's just really bad there. See if it's any better up here. Then we can blame they're doing something, fire hydrants or something maybe. There's a bunch of foul coming into the water. No, I don't see anything. So we're upstream from that pipe. So it's definitely all the way up there somewhere. Right, definitely. Well, yeah, see, there's the pipe there. See if it's coming out of here. There's nothing coming out of there. That's clear. So yeah, it's something further along. So anyway, another charming winter day. Yeah. Ugh. 2 more months to go. Get this over with. If I can hang in there. Just hate it. You know, I've learned through experience. Yeah. You know it brings no good. Anyway, branches down. Gotta work on a car. Anyway. There's the button. I think we're done. Yep. Trying another new lens. Lens number 743. 50 center